What's up, Wizards? It's Dev. They just finished my roof. Now all I have to do is pay them $15,000 over the next 5 years. So to take my mind off of that, how about we think about money in a different context? Let's look at some Magic the Gathering prices for the new Magic the Gathering set. What just Magic the Gathering? Bloomburrow just came out officially in paper. It's on the streets, baby, which means that the pre-order prices have officially plummeted. Probably not to the level they're going to bottom out at, but release day really does separate the men from the larger men. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few things. The top 3 most expensive possible cards that you can get in this set, the top 20 most expensive normal cards that don't have weird frame treatments or anything, and then 5 or 6 cards that I think you should probably pick up. It's a lot to get to. Let's get to it. You may notice that the first card on your screen is Lumbra Bellow of the Woods. That's because the raised foil version of this is actually the most expensive card in the set. Take a guess. I haven't put the price on the screen yet, so you take a guess in the comment section how much you think this card is going to be worth. Raised foil, super special art, pine cones, probably matters for something, big old bear. This card is $205 as I live and breathe. This costs $200. This costs a Nintendo Switch to get if you don't have it. If you do have it because you opened it at pre-release or something, which probably didn't happen because I think you can only get these in collector's edition, collector's packs. You know what I'm talking about. So you probably didn't open it yet. But if you do open one of these in a collector booster, then you have money. That's one of the points of this video is like, oh, I went to pre-release. I got a couple of collector's boosters when the set first came out. What are my cards worth? Well, if you pulled this one, you're probably going to be able to pay your rent. So it's good news for all of us. But $206 is, that's so much. That's so much for a Magic card. It won't be worth this next week. So again, if you get it, go ahead and sell it. The second most expensive card in the set is actually the raised foil Balin the Haymaker because it looks great. Look, I know you're in the comments right now talking about, oh, it looks too cartoony and stupid. No, it looks great. I think it looks great. I wouldn't pay $128 for it, which is what they're asking for it now. You know, next week, wait, you'll be able to get it for $80. That's reasonable. It's not. So just keep waiting. I don't know what this card's going to bottom out at, but 128 is a bit high. Again, if you have this card, don't sell it. I would, if you need to for the money, then do that, but it is a really cool card. It's such a cool card. It's an awesome commander. You slap this thing down, people are going to be like, man, you spent like $20 on that. And you're going to be like, actually, I spent $120 on that, which is probably, maybe don't tell that part, but you know, that's a lot of money. Next though, final most expensive possible card you can actually get in this set is the raised foil. You see the trend here. Ral Crackling Wit. This is actually about $105. So $100 less than the Lumbra for some reason. It's maybe the cooler card, all things considered. This is a pretty cool card, but again, $105 cool. I'm not too sure about that. So maybe if you somehow have a copy of this card in your collection in the next 3 days, you want to unload it as quickly as possible is all I'm saying. Unless you want to play with it. You do whatever you want to. I'm not telling you what kind of Magic player to be. I just know that I need money. We've already established that. Roofs cost so much money. Why? It's just some shingles and like some labor. And I guess I respect the labor that they do. It's just, why is it $15,000? We'll move on to the normal cards. Like I said, we're doing the top 20 sort of normal, looks like a Magic card. No extended art, alternate art, borderless, frame treatment, retro frame. Those actually, I like those, but we didn't get any of those in this set. So let's look at how much these cards cost. Helga, you might be excited. You might be like, oh, I pulled a Helga at the pre-release. Is it worth $20? It's not. We're starting at the lower end of the spectrum. And since this is the top 20 most expensive cards in the set, you can get a Helga Skittish Seer for about $2.35 right now, which is a pretty darn good price. I think it's probably going to go a good bit lower than that. But, you know, $2 Mythic when the set releases that actually looks like it's kind of playable, like a mid-range shell or something like that, you know. Maybe not terrible. That's all I'm saying. It could go up. This one could go up, but it really depends on how much play it's seeing in standard. And if people play with it as a commander, but something's telling me they probably won't. But it's really not a bad commander to build around. Seems like you can do some fun stuff. So I don't know if this one goes south or heads north, but it's probably going to do something. Number 19 is amazingly Season of Weaving. This is $2.50. Not the cheapest weaving, but kind of in the middle tier as far as price goes. You know, $250 is not super expensive, but it's also probably not where this card bottoms out either. I think some of these are just benefiting from being mythics. If they were rares, they'd be like 50 cents. I think Season of Weaving is probably one of those. But next is another mythic. I guess number 18 here would be Eluge or Deluge without a D. This is $2.35 right now. And I'm not actually sure how. A lot of Commander players are really excited to play with this card, so it seems like it would be like $6, but it's not. I don't see this one really shooting up anytime soon either, but, in case you wanted one, you want to know how much it is, 2 something. But we'll move into the $3 territory here with number 17, which is Dragonhawk. I don't think this card is very good. It's a big chicken. It's a big flying chicken, which is great. But beyond that, I'm not really sure. I also think that they are, if you look at the landscape here, I'm pretty sure it's wherever Courage the Cowardly Dog lives. That's where they're doing this. That's kind of a neat little fun fact. But still, this card's not super great. It's $350. People like dragons. You know what I mean? People love dragons. So I'm not really sure that you want to be paying this much for this card. I think you can probably wait a few days on this. It should drop a couple of bucks, but, maybe I'm just like super wrong. It's like a fun legend, I guess. But, and, it goes in the Ish Index because it double triggers when it attacks. I could just be like super wrong and it's great in Commander, but wouldn't let it happen to me, though. So we'll move on to 16, which is Biza. This is $3.75. Get your hands on a copy of this right now, which is more than reasonable. I think the Biza is a pretty strong card, and I'm a little surprised to see it down here at $3.75, but who knows in what direction that moves. I'm just kind of here to give you the news, Don't shoot the messenger. 15 is a card I really want, so I hope it goes down soon. It's Season of Loss at about $4 to get a copy. This card's too much. I was really hoping this could be a part of the I spent $5 on Bloomburrow video, but I don't want to spend $4 on this and like 10 cents on 10 cards. 25 cents on 4 other cards. But I do really want this for Elysil Core Commander specifically, but also Judith and like everything I'm sacrificing dudes in, because I think that last mode is incredible. But apparently other people have clocked it's a fine card, and it's at $4 right now. Again, really crossing my fingers this one comes down, but we'll see. I'm not convinced that it will. Another one I feel the same way about is Mockingbird at 14. This is right at about $4 as well. Slightly more. I'd say more sellers have this for above $4 than Season of Loss. So I really like this card too. I've made like no secret of that. This is my number 2 card in the set on the top 50. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. I've had a bunch of people ask me like, well, when are you going to release the top 50? It's like, I did a week ago. So I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested. But yeah, I think this card is phenomenal. One of, if not the best clone ever printed ever. $4. Honestly kind of seems like a steal, but I would still wait and see if this one trends downward. Next is Season of, is next Season of Gathering? It should be. No, it's not. Next is Storm Splitter at 13. This is also trending around $4 right now. But again, slightly higher from a lot of sellers. So we'll put it here on the list. Storm Splitter is a really interesting card, but I imagine this one goes down too, unless all the infinite combos people have planned out with it are actually good. But I don't think so. That's just one guy's opinion. It's an awful lot. I don't think Insidious Roots is going to be playing this card, even though a lot of people on Twitter and Reddit would disagree. Apparently, this is what you play in Insidious Roots, because when you make tokens with it, those tokens tap for mana to cast spells, and when you cast the spells, you get more Storm Splitters and whatever. I don't think it's actually very good, to be honest. But there's probably commander tricks with it or something, which helps explain the $4 price tag. But again, if you want to do the cute thing with the otter guy, then like I would maybe wait for a minute. But next is Season of Gathering. This is the most expensive season, which is kind of a massive surprise. But, you look at that second mode, blow up all the artifacts and or all the enchantments. Yeah, it's pretty good in Commander. And you get to do something else too. So, yeah, it seems like a fine card there. And that's probably what's driving the $4.50 price tag on this thing. But again, maybe wait. Maybe just wait on this one. But again, we'll see. I can't see the future or anything, but this looks like a flavor of the week kind of thing for Commander players. But I've been wrong before. Everyone's been wrong before. My hit percentage is okay, but I chose to use the word okay there. That should tell you a thing or two. Moving on is Rotten Mouth Viper at number 11. So broaching close to the top 10. at about $4.90, close to $5 for a copy of the Snake right now. And I do think this one's a lot of hype too, and I contributed to that hype. But I'm not convinced this is a $5 Mythic. I think a lot of people are trying to make it work, and I hope it does. Crossing my fingers here, but I would wait. Again, I'm saying this about a lot of cards, but it's release day. There are a few cards already that I've said, maybe this one goes up. I'm not sure. Rodmouth Viper is kind of one of those, but I think this probably trends downward more likely than it trends upward. Even if people can get the deck to work, I'm just not sure that it's, a $20 Mythic or anything anytime soon. We'll move on to Ral at number 10. The normal Ral, just normal old Ral is $5. A little over, $5.10, $5.15. And fine card, man. I think that this might be worth $5. It's the Planeswalker of the set. Could do work in Standard. Definitely does work in Commander. Planeswalkers do see a fair amount of play in Commander. I used to think that they didn't, and then a bunch of people got on to me for that. Like, no, dude, people play Planeswalkers in Commander, but even though there's 3 people to attack your Planeswalker, it seems like it'd be really hard to protect a Planeswalker. And I've played some Commander at this point, and I very rarely see people actually play Planeswalkers, but again, people tell me all the time, like, no, dude, that's a thing. And this looks especially, if you'll pardon the pun, cracked in Commander if you can play a bunch of spells. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It seems like a decent price for the card, like right at about $5. Next is the infamous Cruel Claw at number 9. A lot of hype driving this card. Hype in Standard, Pioneer, and as a Commander, because it's a fun ability to have in the command zone. So I see why the hype, and it is Mythic. I feel like they could have made this card rare and it would have been fine, but the Mythic is probably driving some of the price here, but $5.50 is not that expensive. That said, I think this card kind of like poops out, doesn't actually like make tryouts or anything, and probably goes downward. So if you're looking to brew like a fun Commander thing with this, again, I'd wait, but again, like full disclaimer, there could be some ridiculous Pioneer combo with this and it's really expensive, but there's a ridiculous Pioneer combo with Greasefang. You can get that card for like 50 cents. Sometimes that even doesn't, dictate the price. But moving on to number 8, it's Kitsa, Otterball Elite over here. This is about $6.50 right now for some reason. Like, it's a fine card. And again, like fun Commander build around. I think people are trying to build blue-red Otters in Standard. A lot of people are very excited about Otters, I've noticed. I mean, I don't blame them. Otters are really, really cute. But I'm not really sure the Otters deck is great, especially in early MTGO standings. It appears as though most of these decks are red or red-green and don't play blue at all. So I'm just not sure there's a real place for Kitsa. But Kitsa's a cool card, and I understand the price tag. But again, I think this one probably goes down. Next is Lumbra, just normal Lumbra here at number 7. This is also... well, actually, this one's about $7.75. So we do take a good little jump there in terms of price. This is seeing early play in the black-green Vine Lasher decks that play like Aftermath Analyst and stuff like that. And it's kind of a win condition for those decks outside of just like World Soul's Rage or a bunch of Desert damage or Vine Lasher damage. It's just a big dude that's going to be like a 9/9 in those decks a lot of the time, like really easily. Probably more than that, too. So, card is really neat. And its status as an actual like played Standard card, if that deck makes it, because we're not actually sure yet, but its status as a played Standard card right now is probably what's mostly driving the price of this. I also like the idea of having this ability, a Splendid Reclamation in your command zone, seems like really, really sick. So there's definitely cool stuff about the card, and I get the price tag, but again, $7.75. I'm not like convinced that's what this card is worth. But moving on to number 6, it's going to surprise you. Number 6 will shock you, and it will. So number 6 is Innkeeper's Talent. This is the green talent that's kind of a Luminarch aspirant until it's kind of a thing that protects all your guys, until it's kind of a thing that, like a doubling season or something. Like it puts twice that many counters whenever you put counters on a thing. Which is sick. By the way, this works with poison counters. Also works with Planeswalker loyalty counters. So you can, level 4 this, or I always want to say 4. What is wrong with my brain? You can level 3 this and then play like most Planeswalkers and immediately ult them. So cool. But it's actually one of the only cards, I think the only card we'll talk about today, that's inverted in terms of what sellers are selling it for and market price. When I checked it earlier, the market price was still $8, but no seller had it for less than $12. So this one appears to be taking off right now. And we'll see kind of where the price goes, but I really don't think I'd buy this for $12. Then again, just a full disclaimer, just with, like I've said before, this could shoot up to $20 because it is that good. And it does look pretty good. It does look a good card, especially in Commander. But again, I think that $12 is asking a bit much right now. So I'd probably hold my breath for a moment. Burke is next at number 5. How? I'll tell you how. It's not available in packs. As a matter of fact, the most expensive card in the set is I believe, not available in packs either. But Burke is a card you can come across. You can get this card. I don't believe it's in play boosters. And as a result, it is about $9 right now. There are Commander players talking about the card, but there is no way this is a $9 piece of cardboard. It has to be an availability issue more than anything else. Number 4 is Igra over here. I think that this card will egress from standard like fairly soon. $10 is what this card's at right now, and I think that's too much. This is a really unique ability in Commander, though. Fun to have it in the command zone, obviously. But just a card that we've never really seen anything like before, and I tend to like stuff like that. I know a lot of Commander players like stuff like that. There's multiple infinites with this. There's non-infinite, value engines that go with it, too, that loop, but again, aren't quite infinite. So I can definitely see what people are talking about, and some of the Commander setups look pretty okay. There are CEDH players talking about this card, but we'll see if they're still talking about it 2 months from now or 2 weeks from now or whatever it is. I don't think it's worth $10, but if you want to play it in Commander that bad, go ahead and pick it up. 3 is Maha. This is around $13 right now. You can get it for 12 something from some sellers, but usually around 13. And I can see why, man. It's a really exciting card. Again, Commander is a fun Commander, and it's fun to have in the 99 of basically any Commander deck that plays Swamps, right? So that probably explains it, but this also looks like a standard playable card. I don't think it's better than Aclazotz personally in the 5-drop slot in your deck that plays Swamps, but I also think that it is very tempting to give it a shot. I think a lot of people are going to try to play it. I think a lot of people think it's just a cool Magic card, and that definitely helps price too. It has a line of text on it that you very, very rarely see. Combos well with a bunch of stuff. This being $13 makes sense to me. We'll see where it goes from here, but $13 sounds about right-ish. But if I had to guess, it trends downward. Next is 3 Tree City, number 2 right here. This version that you see on screen is $18 right now, $17 to $18. But all of the different special treatments, all the different seasonal treatments, summer, winter, fall, are about $30, slightly north of that at the moment. I think that $18 is probably too much for this at the moment, but 2 or 3 years from now, 4 years from now, when the set is completely out of print, not in standard anymore, it will probably be more than $18 to pick this card up. I would say that if 5 years goes by and this card is not worth $20, I'll be shocked, So I'd say go ahead and pick it up while you get a chance. This is one of the few cards I'm going to say that about. $18 is a lot, and it might even trend downwards while it's in standard. So, wait a week and see what happens all day. But again, I'd say if this card isn't a $20 bill 5 years from now, I will be extremely surprised. So I'll go ahead and grab a copy, man. But the number 1 card in the set, price-wise, a normal card at least, is Bria Riptide Rogue. Again, I do not believe that this is available in play boosters. And it's like the otter, lord, kind of. It doesn't actually do anything with otters, but I think a lot of people building otters are trying to get their hands on this card, whether it's standard or whether it's Commander. This is your Commander in that format. So, and it's just a fun blue-red Commander, even if you're not playing otters. You know what I mean? So, cool card, and I think it's mostly here for Commander, and again, scarcity or availability issues are kind of a problem with this thing. So yeah, that's why it's number 1. It shouldn't be $20, but it is theoretically, technically, the chase rare of the set. But don't try to open booster packs to get the card, because again, I don't think this one's in play boosters. But we'll move on to the final thing I want to talk about today. Been a long video already. Thanks for sticking with me. Here comes the fun part. We're going to talk about all the cards that I would probably go ahead and pick up for the price that they are right now, that aren't the most expensive cards in the set or anything, but I do think are at lower prices than I would pay for these cards. I would gladly pay more for any one of these next few cards than they're currently, at, their market price right now. So Iridescent Vine Lasher, I'm going to talk about this. This card is currently $2.25. And it is already, from what I can tell on Reddit, A lot of people are extremely interested in playing this card in Standard and Pioneer and Modern, because you get fetch lands, right? A lot of fetch lands in Modern. So I just don't know how. And like in landfall decks that play black in Commander, you have to play this card. Again, I think this card is playable at a relatively high level in multiple competitive environments. So $225, I would pay that for my favorite card in the set. I would absolutely do that. Next is Glarb. This one confuses me. It really does. This card, this is incredibly unique commander that allows you to play 3 extremely powerful colors, and doesn't die to any bolts, has death touch, extremely respectable power toughness, taps to surveil, lets you, Courser of Krufix big dudes off the top of your library. Like, the card is incredible. And is, looks playable in competitive 1v1s, while also, again, making a really, really interesting commander that goes in the 99 of certain decks too. It's just it was just go in the 99 of Muldrotha? I think it probably does. So, I don't know why this card is $2. It's Mythic too. I didn't even bring that up. The card's Mythic. And it's $2 to own a Glarb right now, which I think is an incredible deal. Buy this. I don't know what else to say, but like, buy this card. $2 seems fantastic to me. Next is Dawn's Truce. This is Heroic Intervention in white, potentially better Heroic Intervention. This is about as close as it gets in white, and I guess maybe you're already playing Teferi's Protection and you feel like you don't need another effect like this, and maybe that's why the price is so low. But I haven't told you the price yet. It's $1.75 for this card. That said, when I looked at this earlier on TCG Players, $1.75 market price. When I was gathering materials for this video, downloading card images and stuff, it had shot up to $2. I'm not sure where it tops or bottoms out, but $1.75, $2, that seems like a literal steal to me for this card. Took Heroic Intervention some time to shoot up in price, but eventually it did. And now it's hard to get a version of Heroic Intervention for less than like $9. And I'm not sure that's kind of the trajectory this card takes, but this card is very good, and I was like super surprised to see the price on it. Next is Caretaker's Talent. This is about $1.20 right now, $1.25, And I think this is a really good white card draw that also has a busted level 2. Create a token that's a copy of a token you control. Any token, doesn't matter what token, So the shenanigans you can get up with that seem fantastic to me, dude. I think this card is great, and I feel like it's a card Commander players maybe haven't discovered yet. But especially in Commander, I think this card is juiced, dude. I think this card's really good. So $1.25, again, confuses me slightly. But next is Fountain Port. You can get this for less than $1. It's like 95 cents for a Fountain Port. And again, I don't get that because I know for a fact that thousands, literally thousands of Commander players were freaking out about this card in a Reddit post. Just with the sheer number of people who were really excited about this card, I'm surprised it's not at least $5. I really am. I don't know if it trends up to that, but this is an incredible utility land that looks like it costs a lot to use all the modes, but you'll find a way to use these modes. You'll find the mana in Commander. You'll have it. It's fine. So I'm, again, $1 for this, less than $1. How? But finally, last card of the day here as we approach the 30-minute mark is Sunspine Lynx. I think this one has the sauce, man. This is good in Commander. The players can't gain life damage, can't be prevented. That'll be good. That will annoy at least one player at the table. But it's this ETB trigger that hits for Lava Axe against everybody that I'm interested in. And it can be blinked too, So if it hits for 3 or 4 when it first enters the battlefield because you played it on curve, awesome. If you blink it or reanimate it later through some means, or just bring it back from your yard to your hand, play it again, then later in the game, this can do 7 damage to everyone in one shot. And then you blink it and it does 7 more. It's not an if you cast it. It's just an enters trigger. That's so good, dude. So I think this card is phenomenal, and it's 75 cents. And how is that possible? It is far less than $1 to get a copy of Sunspine Lynx, and it's so good. It's another red cat for Cat Cube, by the way. So I have to order a copy of this card. I think it is good in multiple formats, including Commander. So 75 cents is flummoxing, baffling, bamboozling, hoodwinking. I don't understand how this card could possibly be 3 American quarters to own, because it seems like a lot of red Commander decks just want to run this, period. But that is it, everybody. We danced and played all night, went through the top 20 normal cards, top 3 most expensive, and then 5, 6 cards I'd pick up. So I hope you enjoyed it. This was our Bloomburrow price guide. Why is the screen behind these things black? Why is that happening? If I press something, yeah, I don't have to press nothing. I just highlight things and they turn black. What's wrong with my computer? I'm very scared. You can also sub to the sandwich if you haven't done it yet, because we've got our first like actual big Bloomburrow video of the year coming up. It's in just a couple of days from now, I promise. So you want to be subbed to the sandwich for that. And aside from that, I guess you could always check out the Patreon. Link in the description too to that top 50 cards, baby. But yeah, I need the support. I just put a roof on this house. It's going to cost me, like if I had bought a new car, it's the same thing. The payment's literally the same as a car note. So you want to keep seeing content, maybe throw $1 in the Patreon pot. Anyway, I'm done for now, guys. I love you very much. I'm Deb from The Place. Thanks for watching, Wizards. Spread love and be kind.